Hey, it's Chris, Liege of Games. I'm going to talk to you right now about things you should know regarding the newest, the latest, and the different next iteration of Puzzle Strike. Puzzle Strike numero dos. What do you need to know? What's different about it? What's important to find out whether or not it's right for you? Well, let's talk. Because I have a copy here. And let's get you some info. Now, I'll give you a little bit of background before I go into my timed section of the 5 points that I'm going to tell you really quickly. Serling Games put out this game in 2010, the original edition. Third edition came out in 2012. Then there was the Shadows expansion. Now, if you're not familiar with this, this is more of a bag builder. They used chips to distinguish it and differentiate it from the typical deck building mechanisms and schemes that you may be more familiar with, a la your Dominions, your Ascensions, and that ilk. And they did so in a tremendous way. But that now is out of print. So we are left with this property that has been sort of in limbo for almost a decade and now is coming back to us. So what do you need to know? First up, point number one is no longer are we chip building or bag building, we are deck building. And so you need to be aware that, look, I've got my little gem meter, look, I've got my little deck placement, and so that's what you're going to be utilizing in this game that sets it apart already from its predecessor. Now, again, one of the things that is going to be similar is you're going to have your, 37 different unique characters that make this game asymmetric in the first place, where you have your starting deck of 10 cards, but then 3 of them are unique to each character. And the copy that they sent me, I had 20 different characters just from the get-go. And that's a lot. And that's kind of cool at the same time, right? Because nowadays, the first demand that people always have is, I need variability. I need increased replayability. Well, there you go. Achieved. Check. Ching. Bing. Going along with that, I had 6 different decks that you can use as the deck that you are buying from the marketplace. And I'm not talking about 20 or 30 cards. I'm talking like a good 60 to 80 card deck that you're shuffling through and going through and buying from the marketplace with your gems on your buy phase. So again, bing, check that one off the list too if you're one of those people. You can't have any complaints from what I've seen so far from that aspect. So if you're one of those people, no worries whatsoever. They are unique enough that I have no trouble saying you will be happy from that standpoint. Point number 1 as well as point number 2 sort of tied in now together, mishmashing them if you will, is that, like I mentioned, the chips are gone, the cards are in. So again, you're not buying from the stacks, you are drawing from the top of the deck. But in order to mitigate this a little bit, they have done several things. One, you buy something every single turn, period. There is a buy phase, no matter what. Also, you are given by the opportunity of many, many cards to get and obtain other cards outside of the buy phase, which is going to help recycle that market, because that becomes very important as well in terms of gemming other people. Now, I say gemming because what you're doing is you're essentially crashing your gems to throw them at other people. Like combat Tetris with gems, if you will. Point number 3 is, sort of the obvious, but it needs to be said as well. Whether it is your own deck that you're shuffling, whether it is the market deck that's stuff coming up, whether it is any of those sorts of things, there's randomness. There's going to be luck. As with any deck building mechanism or behavior in a game, are you okay with that? And again, how can you mitigate things? And like I mentioned before, just a minute ago, they give you ways to mitigate it. There are numerous cards that are allowing you to draw things, that are allowing you to take things from the bank marketplace and put them right into your hand and play them for free right then and there, even if you have no actions left. And so there are ways to help you get around that so you don't feel so stifled of, oh, geez, it's just a random luck game. No. Because there is definitely some skill and some tactical nature required in this. Point number 4. The other thing you need to know that is new in this game. Now, this game is more than just a 1v1 at this point. This game actually plays up to 4 people now. And the big thing you need to know, I didn't get one. I wasn't lucky enough, but that's okay because there's a freaking picture of it right here massively on the box is this power scepter, because that is going to change the dynamic of the game in the first place. And what does that mean? Why is that important? Because think of, we'll use King of Tokyo as example, right? Everyone knows King of Tokyo, or if you don't, go look it up, but I'll explain it just very briefly. King of Tokyo, if you are in Tokyo, there's people in Tokyo and there's people outside of Tokyo. If you are in Tokyo, you are going against all the people outside of Tokyo. So when you attack, when you crash in this game, if you are the one holding the power scepter, you crash everybody else. But everyone else is going against you. But herein lies the tie-in with King of Tokyo as well. If you make it around to your turn and you are in King of Tokyo, right, you get a victory point. You get extra points for being there and staying there and weathering the storm. And this game does the same thing in that sense, is you get significant bonus and benefit for weathering the storm and holding on to this power scepter until you decide to gift it off to someone else. And again, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about things being spiced up differently within the deck building genre? Me personally, I love this sort of thing. It is innovation. It is difference. Because the other question that I ask during every single crowdfunding campaign is, why am I getting this game? One, why am I getting this game now? But two, just in general, why am I getting this game? What makes this stand out? Why should I get this over something else? Why should this be in my collection when I have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, or I have a few other deck builders? And these slight differences, the crashing, the manipulation of the gems and twisting them around so that you can only crash from the top, but also that you're gifting them to the other person, which uses a very similar mechanism in that sense to one of my favorite games of all time, Bullet from Level 99. It's pretty freaking sweet. The last thing that you need to know is that not only are you going to be having these cards and these actions, and again, just mitigating your deck, but again, as another point of mitigation that I completely, skipped over there, but I'm using as 0.5 here, is you have your little action board here. And as you crash other people, you lose if you end your turn up above 10, but you're getting bonuses the higher your stack is when you're removing stuff. So it behooves you a little bit to let it get built up a little bit, which again is an interesting tactic. You're purposefully essentially taking damage as a D&D character so that you're powering up, right? You're going Saiyan. The only way the Saiyans power up is they get beaten badly and then they recover. That's what this is going for as well. But this is the part I'm actually talking about as 0.5, right? These are the power moves. As you crash or eliminate gems of colors, the more you do, these fill up when you crash that number. So I crash 3 purple gems, give them to the other person essentially, then I fill in 3 purple gems here. If I can get that 4th one full, super move! Pretty freaking sweet. Again, another way to mitigate things. Extra actions, extra cards, extra antes, and just extra cards that you can buy again. It's great. And again, just like Bullet, it utilizes an ante system that is pressing your luck like Bullet does. It increases the difficulty, so these games are not going to be long. The ante that happens every single turn, that goes into your pile every single turn, no matter what, every single freaking time. And as you get even a couple rounds in, it starts upping the ante in terms of +1, and then +1 again. And then it gives you an extra action at the same time. So it's ramping it up. So these are not drawn out slogs of a deck builder game. Because, although that's probably the one thing I didn't see, and I'm not saying it's not there, but I didn't see a whole lot of, trash your deck necessarily. There's a few things, but this mechanism makes up for that, or at least being present in the stuff that I played, because it keeps the game moving fast. And that's one thing I think that's important in a game like this that could easily overstay its welcome, especially as an extra 0.6 here, that this is a very heavy take that game. It is. It's a very heavy take that game. Now, you can play against the game itself, but I would argue that you're going to buy a game like this, just like you're going to buy a game like Bullet from Level 99 Games, to go against other people. And so this is more take that than other deck builders in that sense. Most deck builders we think of as cooperative, joint ventures against a bad guy. This is free for all. I'm going against you. I'm taking you down. And you know what? It freaking works. And it's different enough that You know what I did this weekend? I actually just went out and bought Puzzle Strike 3rd edition with shadows on the secondary market. And I'm okay with that too. Because they're different enough that I think both could equally stand in your collection if you are looking for something like this, especially from a different side of a deck builder. There you go. As always, let me know if you have any comments, questions, or concerns in the comment section below. But that's Serling Games' Puzzle Strike 2. The 5 things plus 1 I thought you should know if you're interested in obtaining a copy for yourself. Thanks for watching. Stay classy. I'll see you around. Have a great freaking day. Little Seth Rollins there.